And of course, again, we have the classification called voice and voiceless sounds. The knowledge of this will help you in understanding the classification of consonant sounds. Remember, we have voice and voiceless sounds. Now, the easiest way to explain what we mean by voice and voiceless sound is again to place your palm just by on your neck here and try to pronounce a sound. Let's say, and then pronounce, or pronounce. If you did that exercise, you will also notice that there is a change. There are some differences in the movement of the air at the point of the glottis. In some sounds, there is vibration. This is because the glottis closes and the air has to force its way through, thereby causing that vibration. But where you have a sound being pronounced without such vibration, you know that the glottis opened and the air passed out through it without any kind of hindrance. So sounds that are produced with that vibration are called voice sounds. Whereas sounds that are produced without such vibration are called voiceless sounds. Now let's go back to the different consonant sounds that we have. Like we said, there are 24 of them. We have the P, which we have in pet, pan, P, tap, so on and so forth. And then we have the sound, we have the sound, we have the G sound, and then the sound number 7 is the sound which you have in chair, church, choose, represented by the alphabet CH. And then you have the J sound, which is represented by the alphabet J. You have that in joy, judge, juke, jet, and so on and so forth. And then we have the sound, which is represented alphabetically by the alphabet F and sometimes PH. So you have the sound, even though the word is spelled PHONE, phone. The PH is the alphabet, but the pronunciation is a sound, right? And then you have the sound. We have vowel number 11 is represented, vowel number 11 and vowel number 12 actually are represented by the alphabet TH. And for us here, the closest sound to vowel number 10 is the T sound. And that is why sometimes we mistakenly pronounce the word thank as tank, and the word dan as dan. All right? So both are represented in spelling as a TH, but they actually not the T and the D sound, which are the closest sounds to them in our African setting. All right. So what I like my students to understand is whenever you are faced with a word that starts or has the TH spelling in it, if that word can be represented, if the sound, the TH sound can be represented by T, then you know that that sound is consonant sound number 11. And if that sound or that the sound in the word can be represented by a D, then you are looking at consonant number 12. The difference between consonant number 11 and the T sound is that you put your tongue in between your teeth to pronounce it. The difference between the consonant number 12 and the D sound is the same thing. You put your tongue in between your teeth to pronounce the sound. And then you have consonant number 14 or number 13, which is a sound. Sometimes it is spelled with the S alphabet, and at other times it is spelled with the C alphabet. In a word like sight, C-I-T-E, the initial sound there is a S sound. Even though sometimes when you have a word like car, C-A-R, although the spelling is a C, the sound is not the sound, it's actually the K sound. All right. And then consonant number 15 is a sh sound. Consonant number 17 is a h sound. 18 is a sound. 19 is a sound. And 20 is a sound. The 20, it sounds like a combination of the sound N and G. There's something I forgot to mention. We have nasal and oral sound. And the three nasal sounds in the English language are the and sound. Why are they called nasal sounds? They are called nasal sounds because in the production of those sounds, the lips are shut and the air comes out through the nose. Now, these sounds come together and form sound segments, which we call syllables. All right? Because when we pronounce words, we don't articulate the sounds separately. In a word like car, we don't pronounce k, we pronounce the sounds together. Now that block of sound is called a syllable. Now there are some words that are monosyllabic, meaning that they are made up of just one syllable. Car is an example. There are words that are disyllabic, that means they are made up of two syllables. For example, we have teacher. T is the first syllable, cher is the second syllable. And then we have words that are polysyllabic. These words are made up of 3 or more syllables. Like syllabification, for example, is made up of about 5 syllables. C, la, B, fi, K, sh. These are different syllables. Okay, now that brings us to the end of our summary on phonetics. Now let's look at the second aspect or the second segment of this class today, which is spelling. As earlier stated, our spellings appear to be different from the way we pronounce words. But that is not the only dilemma we have in spellings. We sometimes encounter words that have more than one spelling. For example, there's a spelling of color, which is C-O-L-O-U-R. And in other documents, you may find C-O-L-O-R. Now, what should the student or the language learner do? I want us to understand that we have variants of different varieties of English. In Nigeria, for example, we have the British English in use, we have the American English in use. Both of them are correct in their own right, but I always advise my students to stick to British English because that is the English we are all conversant with, and that's the English that we have learned from our primary through secondary stages of learning. There are differences in these variants. There are differences at the level of spelling, there are differences at the level of grammar, differences at the level of vocabulary, and so on and so forth. And the table you have in front of you shows you these differences. All right. You may also encounter difficulty in spelling of certain words that have the IE or the EI in them. The general rule, for every rule there are exceptions. Please take note of that. But the general rule that could help you is that when you encounter a word that the IE or the EI should come after the sounds